The backdrop.
Virtual,
Almost.
the power of virtual background.
Absolutely. Yeah, let me. I should also choose something now that they. I think.
It's mounted, very
Am I
tempting.
visible or something has
Yes.
happened?
No, no, you're visible, but your head is getting slightly cut off.
Okay. Somehow I'm not able to
Yeah,
see
that's
my
better.
thing anymore. Where's my preview?
Settings, switch audio. I don't see. Reclaim host role. I thought we were all hosts in a panel. This thing. Hi, Lata. Mute, mute,
Issues.
mute.
I said this time
Acho,
no issues.
very
So we
quickly,
have.
you've checked your WhatsApp.
No, I haven't. Was
Okay,
I
please
supposed to
do
check the
so.
WhatsApp?
Yeah, no, no, please do. Especially when you're on a panel discussion, you should keep checking your WhatsApp messages that keep flowing in. No, I just wanted to, there are a couple of
Oh, we've got a
dean and
lot of
pace.
people. Very good, yeah, this time.
Yeah, hopefully. So these, I'll put it on the main group also. So there are some of these deans and head of placements joining in. So we just want to acknowledge them that they have joined the webinar. So um, you can take the top three, and I'll take the last three. Lata, we'll just
Is it,
call.
yeah, I
We'll have to
got it.
shout.
You've given me work. You've given me work is basically what you're saying. Thanks. Give me a minute. I'll just come back from my room.
Where is Priyanka? I hope she's not having any issue. Hi,
One
Nandini.
question for you. Oh, sorry. Advika, just one question for you. From a protocol point of view, should we keep our video on all the time or only when we are speaking?
No, as panelists, you can. I think it's best to keep it on. That's fine. Because also Lata will keep, it's jumping between all three of you. So that's fine. We're just waiting for Nandini to come in and Priyanka. Let's just call her. Priyanka, have you spoken to her?
Yeah, she's just joining.
Okay.
I was actually doing that.
So Lata, a quick thing. I ran past the questions with the communications head here. So there was just one little input that when you talk about the question wherein you say that I've moved from Oracle to Novell to financial services. So you can just say NAB. I think
You
that's
want me
what
to
they
move
would
that?
like. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Are you playing the video?
No, Madhu, I looked at the video. I thought while it was about a customers, etc., I thought it wasn't very relevant for this group. So I decided not to play it.
Sure, sure. Sounds good. Sounds good. So all of your work from home today or in office?
I'm at office.
At office.
I'm at office as well.
Sorry, office now. All right. I'm
Can I say product companies?
Yes.
OEMs? No.
Yeah, product companies is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out the system of WebEx while we wait. Nandini
What's
should
there to
be
figure
in
out?
any minute. You've become blurred.
2 minutes.
Oh, no, we use it internally. It's our default.
Acha. Where is there a blur option here? I can't see it.
Yeah, if you go to the video, stop video on the side, there's a
Yeah.
small arrow going downward. Just click on that. Then it'll give you change virtual background.
No, it's just giving me FaceTime, HD camera, video settings, self view location.
No, just go to stop video. Can you see stop video on yours?
Yeah.
Next to that is an arrow
Acha.
going
Next.
down.
Yeah.
Just click on that. I will
I
have to
did.
check with
It is not giving me
Priyanka whether
option.
she's having
Yeah,
a
even I'm not
challenge.
getting those issues. I mean, those options. Madhu,
Options, no?
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
coming for me either.
Maybe she's the host. That's why. Priyank, are you here?
I'm not the host.
You know.
Change virtual background. Are you getting
कुछ नहीं
that?
दे रहा option. It's
Hmm.
only giving
Yeah.
video setting, self view location, FaceTime HD camera. That is all. Yeah. हाँ बोलो.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning, Priyanka.
Good morning.
Priyanka?
Hi, Lata.
Hi. Just before we begin, feel free, Rama, Priyanka, and Taru to add anything you think will be relevant, irrespective of the questions I ask. While my questions are to set the tone, if there are areas that we are missing out, happy to have you give your point of view in that, because the more the students gain, the better for all of us in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Madhulika, if you're saying something, you're on mute, maybe. Audible, yeah.
Okay. Priyank, what's the waiting looking like? I'm already getting calls.
I see 94 right now.
Have they come in? Oh,
104.
people are already in. Yeah.
104.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there
Uh,
is auditoriums also, right?
Right. Um, Rama has dropped off, or I'm not able to see her.
Yeah.
No, she's there right in the
Okay, okay.
center on my screen is Rama.
Why? I don't know. Everybody's screen is different. Mine is differently painful. What
Go
is
to the
grid?
layout on
Grid.
top.
I'm using grid.
No, just go to the layout and yeah, the grid will do also.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
You can also choose below the grid is full screen
Yeah, that's
view
why I
and
wasn't
all
seeing.
that.
Nandini, if you're here, we can actually start.
Madhu, just give me 2 minutes because I've been
Sure.
on the northern region.
Sure.
That's on the same time, unfortunately. I'm just trying to wrap that up. I'm just going to come. 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, in the meantime, for those who've joined, it would be good to know which colleges you've come from, where are you participating in the panel for, not the panelists, where are you, which colleges, which location. I'm sure our panelists would love to know where you guys are based and which part of the country are you from. I know
You
last
could
time
even
also
add which specialization, what you're pursuing.
yeah. Last time I know there was a batch from lovely LPU, right? That was a huge, big batch, so that was good. Thank you, Bharat. I see West Bengal, Thapa
Mention your
University.
city,
Good
please.
morning, Pinky. Yeah, mention your city, Zakir Hussain, AMU.
NIT. Patna.
Okay. So, Priyanka, Rama, Taru, are you looking at the reach that and the influence and that you're going to have on the students here?
Absolutely. Quite excited about talking to everyone.
I see Amritsar, Aligarh. I don't think we've had Aligarh earlier, right? I've not seen Aligarh earlier.
No. Bihar seems to be getting on the map finally.
Dr. Mishra, good morning. I can see Dr. Mishra there.
Yeah, actually, yes.
We've got someone from Noida. Great, that's our city. Rama, are you looking for Pune by any chance?
This
Okay, Ulhasnagar. And we've got Punjab, AMU, Barabanki, UP is new. Okay, thank you guys.
we
I
have
can see.
Mr. Digvijay Singh Chauhan, I think, has joined in. He's the Assistant Registrar Academics, heading placements for JP University of Engineering, Guna City. So there are, I think this college has 300 students joining in from a single login. They are all in an auditorium and they're all coming in here.
Welcome.
Absolutely awesome. Welcome.
So we've got MP on the map now.
Yes.
Okay. We've got Hoshiarpur also this time. I don't see anyone from Northeast. Last time we had lots of people from Northeast, right? States.
Yeah.
Hi, ladies. Sorry, I'm just trying to now join from my computer. I had you ladies on my phone because I had another meeting going on. It's been like crazy from
Yeah,
morning to
Nandini,
day.
we'll, yeah,
Just give me
awesome.
2 minutes. Just give me
no,
2 minutes and then.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Lata, in the interim, you could just generally set the context for this and Nandini can join in.
Sure, and welcome and good morning to all the students as well as the faculty at the colleges. I see we have this time not just individual dial-ins or individual people who've joined, but also auditoriums full with students. So we hope that this is going to be an interesting session for all of you. We have three great panelists and Nandini will do the introduction to all three of them. The idea of this seminar is to ensure that we bring people from the relevant technology industry to share their career roadmaps with you, as well as share with you the skills that are so necessary in the industry now. It's never a constant. So as you pass out, what type of roles are there available in the market? What are the skill set? How do you really have, I can't say define what you will be in 20 years because it's never a straight line. But how are you really going to drive yourself when you're out there in the industry? And how are you going to be really successful in what you do? And the success is not just measured in monetary terms, but it's also about the skills that you developed on the way to your success. So that's what this session is about. We've had multiple sessions now, and thank you for those who join us regularly and give us feedbacks. We will address some of the questions that were there in the last panel discussion from you guys, and I know Rama has volunteered to address some of those questions as well. But thank you, and I do see a lot of new colleges joining in as well, and thank you to those. It looks like a very balanced across the country. I do miss Northeast, by the way, because I think the last few sessions we've had a number of colleges from Northeast and a lot from Andhra, but this time I see MP taking it, West Bengal, I see Rajasthan coming in. Punjab is always there, right, for us. What do you say, Madhulika, right? Punjab, we seem to have a larger participation
I mean,
from Punjab colleges.
I think it's heartening to see that we've got a good spread and availability of education across the country. And I think it's in the hands of you ladies in the senior roles to go across and kind of grab this talent and actually showcase it probably in some small ways in your own organization so that, I mean, the talent pool, like they say in India, the talent pool is very wide. I think the depth is where we struggle, and conversations like these would really help us take everybody up the curve with us. Nandini?
Yeah, just give me 2 minutes, ladies. I am kind of
Sure.
done. Just
Uh,
a second. I am trying to get the CII.
would you just
Can
want
you
to
see me? All right, there it is. I was just trying to get the CII.
We see you, Nandini. Yep,
Yes, no,
this
I
is
was trying to
better.
get the CII background there. Yeah, that's why. I've been
You're
told a
welcome
million
on board,
times now.
Nandini. Go ahead. Welcome on board. Welcome to
Thank you,
you.
Go ahead.
Madhulika. And I think the two of you are doing a fab job of tech at careers. And, every time we have such eminent panelists that I really wonder what I am doing there. Because, it's just amazing to see the kind of people we get. And it's really heartening to see that they're happy to give back and have the students know what it takes. Every time I think of tech at career and Lata flashes in my head that Nandini, remember, I did not do technology. I am an English graduate, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I still have a chance maybe to make a career at technology at some point. But yes, I think it's to all the students here that this is something they all need to know, that to make a good career at technology, in a technology company also, you do not need to be a tech graduate. And that was my learning to begin with. But are we starting? Are we welcoming everybody now? Are
Yes.
we good to go?
Good
Yes,
to go.
So,
Yeah.
if you could introduce the panelists, then we're good to go.
yes, so we have Dr. Rama Jayanti, and he center head and VP and VP R&D at SAS R&D India Private Limited. 24 years plus of experience in product development with over 18 plus years in management roles. Set up teams, global teams through organic and inorganic growth. Worked in multiple domains. Um, you know, uh, Legal content management, legal, healthcare, strategic sourcing, contract management, supplier risk assessments, and smart manufacturing are some of the specialities that they are there. Then we have Priyanka Deswal, again, who has more than 21 years of industry experience. Like I said, I really do feel very tiny in the whole picture in the field of data analytics and solution architecture, and is currently working as a customer engineer for Google Cloud, helping organization harness Google's expertise, creating a pathway for their journey to cloud and AI. Lata, I would add here that maybe we should get her to do a session with our members as well, how to add the Google expertise to us and our industries as well. And that would be an interesting thing to do, I feel. And then
Happy to get her on board to do that.
yeah. And then we have Taru Jain, who is the Executive Director in Technology at NAB India. And NAB has really been kind, and we have done some collaborative work earlier as well. India Innovation Center. She has more than 2 decades of industry experience across various roles and agencies. She has led teams globally to deliver electronic trading platform for global clientele. She enjoys working in a highly competitive matrix environment where collaboration and teamwork are critical keys to success. Passionate about building capability and nurturing talent. She has led key initiatives related to diversity and inclusion, early careers, women comeback programs. She's a proud mother of a 17-year-old boy and a 13-year-old girl. Taru holds a master's in computer science from India Institute of Technology, Delhi. So she's an IIT graduate. What else do we need? So that, and then we have our two members, Madhulika and Lata, who are an important part of our executive committee, who lead the thought leadership vertical, and who are the pioneers for this program, apart from many others. So Tech at Career is their baby, and if it wasn't for them, we all wouldn't be here. So Madhu and Lata, over to you girls.
Thank you. Thank you, Nandini. Madhu, do you want to also talk about some of the leaders that we have from various colleges who are joining us?
Yeah, so I'll bring that in as we go along, because I'm in 200 participants, I'm unable to see if they're all in. And I do want to call out some of the senior leaders who've joined in from colleges, and I think it's absolutely heartening that you are taking that kind of interest and not just leaving it to the students. So let's kick this off with these three wonderful women who've joined us today. Over to you, Lata.
Thank you so much. Am I audible to everyone? I hope I am. A quick one that I obviously will not take too much, but I did want to quote Robert Greene: "The future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways." And I would say all our three panelists are epitome of all of that. So I'll start with Dr. Rama. Dr. Rama, Center Head and VP R&D in SAS. Tell us briefly about your journey.
So first of all, Lata and Madhulika, thank you very much for this opportunity. Always great to address what I call the future leaders of India. That's who are participating here. So my journey, which spans about 24 years plus, started in a startup. Good 15 years of my career have been with startups. Till the startup I used to work for got acquired by IBM. And since then, I've been with mid-sized companies. So a little bit about how I got into the IT itself. I'm an academician by profession. I did my PhD, and at that point, at least, I thought I would be in research and teaching. It just so happened finding two jobs in the academics, my husband is also an academician, is a bit of a challenge. What we call as two-body problem. It's very hard for two people to find an area of interest in the same city and institutes that do that very well. So that's what prompted me to get into IT. And the only companies that were willing to take a risk with this overqualified person were the startup. So that's how, by chance, I kind of got into to IT. And startup has been great. It gave me opportunities to experiment, pick up a lot of horizontal skills, because you don't have structured teams in startups. You don't have the luxury to have structured teams. So one day you come in, you're a database person. Next day you come in, you're going to be sent to the client side. Third day you come in, you're going to write the documentation. So whatever it took to take the product out to the market. And I actually enjoyed that very much. And this was back in the US. So when we relocated back to India in mid-2000, there were very few startups or product development companies in India. What we had are the Infosys, the Wipros, the Satyam. So finding a small startup that was kind of baked in India was a little hard. And I spent a few years with a boutique service company, again, small boutique service company, which gave me good exposure to the rigor, because when you work with startups, it's a little bit of what I call the wild, wild west. You do what is needed to get the product out because the revenue depends on it. So this gave me a little bit exposure to how do we do structured releases, etc. And then I got into a lot of management roles, and much of my career has been how do you take a product from concept to release? And how do you think about technology as a means to get to the goal rather than the goal itself? Look at process as a means to get to the goal rather than the goal itself. And then I stayed away from operations for a long time, and SAS is where I got that opportunity. So I decided to get out of my comfort zone and blend engineering with operations. So this is where I am today. That's a little bit about my journey.
Thank you, Rama, and well-rounded, right? Expertise in every field to coming to an area. Like you said, you didn't want to get into operations, but to round it off the operations piece as well. And that takes me to Taru, to you. In our recent event we had done at Kochi for our global delivery, some of the messaging that went to the people in the delivery centers, and these were young, obviously, joinees as well as others, is industry capability, right? And you yourself have gone in from an OEM to very early in your career to obviously the industry part of it, yeah, right? You're in the BFSI segment. Tell us a bit about your journey and what it took to get to where you are.
Okay, so CII, thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I'm so happy to be here and talking to all of you. Now, in terms of my journey, I'll be quite honest, Lata. It wasn't that planned when I started. So, like a youngster, the bit that was on top of my mind was to be part of a big brand, right? I knew that I am liking programming, right? And this was a career that I wanted to pursue. And I was also very excited about working with people from different cultures. So this, some of these things were always there in my mind. So I landed up in one of the very good brands where I started my career. But then, of course, because I got married, I had to change cities, and hence I moved to the next product company. But these gave me very, very good exposure because, in the beginning, you have to be a sponge rather than, starting it in a very planned manner because you don't know what is right for you, right? So you may get views or things that are right for others, but you don't know what is right for you, right? So I think in the beginning, and thankfully, I acted like a sponge. I mean, while I began as a Java developer, I did a lot of different programming languages ranging from C, C++ to web development to scripting, doing stuff to the operating systems and whatnot. In fact, in my first 3 years, I tried to file a patent as well, which didn't fly too high. It crashed very soon. But what I'm trying to say is I did a lot of experimentation. I was very open to whatever was given to me because I was just trying to have a breath, right? And that was a point in time I learned a lot. And then I decided to try my hands in financial services. So I joined investment banking technology, wherein I didn't even know ABC of investment banking. So, I had those fears in my mind. I don't even know what is investment banking and I'm joining investment banking, right? But I'm so glad that I made the decision because that was the right answer for me. So once I came in, of course, I had to put an effort in terms of understanding the domain. What is investment banking about? What is trading? Who are the clients? Why do they trade with us? Starting from basics, I had to learn. But that's when I realized, oh, this is the place for me. This is where I enjoy, right? So, and even when I came to investment bank, while I was a technologist, writing technology, as I said, electronic trading platforms, which were used by our clients around the clock for trading purpose. But at the same time, I did a lot of different roles. I did business analysis. I did, project management, end-to-end deliveries of projects, and then I was building teams. So while I was a technologist, I also set up the first quants team in my bank in India, wherein people were not just writing code, but they were writing machine learning algorithms to basically, make prediction in terms of how the markets will move, what's the position the bank should take. So it was a very interesting journey for me, and I'm very thankful that I had such an enriching journey. And I think part of it was definitely my good mentors around me, my luck, but it's also my zeal to navigate a lot of breadth and find the right answers for me. So yeah, that's a brief about my journey.
Thank you, Taru. And I think recently we did hear Mr. Murthy talk about it. Is luck is important, but hard work is very important, and the passion that you drive into it. So I can see from your journey that luck definitely plays a part, but unless, like you said, you're a sponge and you don't learn enough, the luck can only help you to a certain extent, right? And this takes me to Priyanka. Priyanka, what, 20 years roughly in IBM? I know you have been a colleague. Tell us a bit about how you really had your journey at IBM, and then what made you really change to Google?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity to, come here and talk to the students and share my journey. So I think I'll just start my journey, it started in college because, we have the students who are still studying in colleges. So at college, my favorite subject was database management systems, right? So I think we have it in one of the semesters in that book, and that really, piqued my interest. And after I passed out, I I saw that everybody was like, trying to learn Java, at least at that time, when I had passed out, Java was a new programming language and everybody's writing like hello world. And databases was still the thing that, interested me. So I started my career as a database administrator. And even when I joined IBM, I was working as a DB2 database administrator. So that was my first role in IBM. And I was part of professional services. I got into some high-end consulting projects, which took me to expand my horizons with the other IBM technologies like data warehousing. I implemented some of the earliest data warehousing projects that were implemented for India, and even the AI projects that were implemented in the 2000s for financial services, and all. And after I got married, it was difficult for me to just be in a city for 1 year, 2 year implementing the project. So that's where I switched gears, and thankfully there were a lot of opportunities within IBM as well to do different kind of roles. So I did technical pre-sales. I worked as an information architect for a while, did consulting, and I think 15 years, 15 to 16 years, doing only data, felt a little saturated. So I thought I need to, broaden my horizon, need to learn everything about the solution architecture. That's where I switched my role as a solution architect and learned all the aspects of how to build a solution, when you are building everything from scratch for a particular customer requirement. So security, collaboration, middleware. So got into all these pillars together, and did a role for enterprise architect, worked with a lot of system integrators, some of the large GSIs, the global system integrators, on some of the key government projects that they were implementing, for India. So that was a great learning. And then I was okay, what next for me? What is next I wanted to do? And then there was this opportunity at Google. It was on data analytics on cloud. So that I thought, what better thing for me to probably pick this. It was a round thing for me. Started from data, did solution architecture in between, and came back. But it was a difficult decision for me because 20 years in the same organization, working with people who you are comfortable with, working on technologies that you are comfortable with. But I think it was a good decision, and I think this is probably one of the learning which I had, that sometimes you have to come out of your comfort zone to get more, or to to get the things that you probably have been aspiring for some time. So I guess that really what happened with me, and I'm glad
Thank
I
you, Priyanka.
had the decision. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can vouch that you're a fabulous pre-sales tech and architect as well, and some of the critical projects running in India have been architected by you. So that is definitely there. Thank you to all three of you for giving a bit about your journey, and it's all about taking chances, taking the risk, getting out of your comfort zone, and about learning new things. One area that I really did want to touch on, and all of us are talking about it, is generative AI, and all three of you in a way touched on data analytics and AI. And while all three of you will have your point of view, around 3 months back, ChatGPT took everyone by storm. And in the recent discussions, we've had key problems, right? Privacy, security, copyright. That's been up. What's your point of view? And I'll start maybe from Taru, to you, and then go to Rama, and then over to Priyanka for that. I wanted all three of your views rather than one, because it's such a discussion point for everyone, and everyone from the industry has their own perspectives on it. So over to you, Taru.
So, a quite interesting and relevant topic that you picked up. And my view on this matter would be that I think it's a very, very powerful piece of technology, which is rightly got the attention that it needed. It has made the entire language models very, very strong. So, I mean, there were language models that were in place. They were quite nascent. So one is that these are quite matured models. And also the very important thing is that these, now they're in a shape and form that not everybody has to write their own models. They can easily use the ones that are in place. So I think that is also a huge benefit. Of course, there's some element of training that is needed for any of these models to work, but it's not a magic wand. I think that's my view on it. It is a language model which will ease out any interactions that have to be had in terms of understanding what user is asking for and giving response in a fashion that it feels that you're talking to a human. But back of it, there will be certain business processes that have to be undertaken, for which there would be people who are needed, who are writing those right set of services, APIs, yeah, which will take the action. So this is not an answer to everything. In my view, it has revolutionized how we interact, talk to users, give the responses back. But there is still a big piece which is sitting right in the middle, where the big job or the business action has to be taken, which is still to be owned by their respective industries. That's my view on it.
Lata, I'll try and
Dr. Rama, to you.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah.
I'll try and answer it from two perspectives. One is the power of the LLMs. The second is some of the fear that it has caused in the market about jobs. So I want to kind of touch on both. In terms of the power, I think there are a lot of opportunities, there are a lot of use cases, but the models do need training for you to truly realize the benefit and also to monetize it. But we are in the early stages. There are some applications that are already available, especially when it comes to things like reviews, giving you the first draft, and we don't have good policy. So there is some work that needs to be done even on that front. But you could today build a quick app that's going to let you define your itinerary if you want to go to a new location as a tourist. Earlier, you would have paid that to a travel agent. Today, you can pretty much do this without any cost. But do you always get accurate answers? I think we are not quite there. In fact, there is this whole term called hallucination realm. If you don't ask your question properly, what you get is garbage, right? So we are at the early stages. There's a lot of power to be unlocked. On the other side, because of that, there are a lot of concerns about job. What is going to happen to my job? And the reason I wanted to touch on that is we do have young students here who are trying to figure out where do I focus. But like any technology that has come, if we go back a couple of centuries when the Industrial Revolution started, there were jobs that were displaced. But that didn't mean people didn't have jobs. The sort of job you did change. You earlier did manual job, that got automated. You would weave by hand. There's charm to wearing saris and clothes that are hand woven, but you don't get the economies of scale. So the machines came about and people learned how to operate the machines, right? And I'm looking at the power of LLMs from that point of view. And good examples are things like GitHub with Copilot. It doesn't mean the job of the developer is going away. It's just making you more efficient. Some jobs may sort of morph. And I do believe there are a lot of opportunities for people in terms of being product managers, product owners, domain experts, so that they can use the power of this technology and unlock it to the fullest.
Yeah, my two bits on this, Lata. So I think Taru and Rama pretty much covered this different aspects of generative AI. I think I would like to speak more on the security part, privacy part, and the concerns that people might have there, especially from the enterprise point of view. So I think the companies which are providing generative AI technologies for the enterprise, they are building can say especially from Google perspective, wherein the privacy of the questions that the business people are asking to generative AI, they are protected, right? They are defined within the boundaries of the enterprise. Okay, so and it is not really going to the open source model, and the data leakage and those kind of issues are prevented. So definitely there are today ways available for the enterprises wherein generative AI can be used within the realm of enterprises with protection. So I don't think there is much to worry. Yes, it is definitely in the nascent stage. 2017 is the first time when the transformer was launched, and from there the journey of LLMs have started. But we see a lot of customers seeing a lot of interest in so it's the same thing, artificial intelligence. 2015 people were doing experimentation. Now it is a reality. Everybody has AI in some shape or form. So that's where I think the journey of GenAI has also started. But it is definitely revolutionary in terms of the kind of efficiencies it can bring into the system. Things which were impossible or very, very expensive to do earlier. Now with LLMs, it has become like quite cheap to even implement those thoughts that the customer has. So that's my two bit on that.
Thank you, Priyanka. It's all about using, Gen AI for business and ensuring that you're following the right security models, as well as obviously having the entire piece of ethics built into it as well, right? And a governance model is very necessary. We can talk about generative AI. I would always say B2C and B2B, right? How are we really using it for B2B is one piece of it. And the open AI part of it is, where is your data going to be? How secure is it going to be? And I know initially around 4 months back when I was talking to multiple CIOs, everyone was looking at creating models using ChatGPT. But I think as time has passed, they've realized that there is need to be very, very careful on which data they're using, and also how is their data going to be used. And I think that's a very important perspective that when we look at the Gen AI. And thank you, Rama, for articulating about the job security. I think it's all about increasing productivity. It is not about taking roles, right? It is about how do you elevate the human mind to the next level. My next question, Taru, is going to be to you, right? Banking or financial sector has always led in the technology adoption. Tell us a bit about what's going on in the financial sector in terms of technology adoption. How is it driving the change in the entire financial sector in terms of the business? Market insights.
Yeah, absolutely, Lata. So, I think, yeah, as you rightly said, technology is no longer an enabler for business. It is like your business completely depends on technology. So that's the important technology has now. So, especially from a financial services part, to take an example, if you talk about NAB, our infrastructure is mostly on cloud at this point in time. So we were one of the first banks to put a majority of our infrastructure onto cloud. So it's not a vision anymore, it's a reality. Yeah, and this aspect has allowed us to have very quick time to market, right? Because if you need something, right, new services to be deployed, you don't have to go to the market looking for hardware. All that you have to do is quickly roll out your new services. So your time to market, your customer experience completely gets revolutionized because you're very swiftly able to move to the demands that the customers have. Also, as we are discussing about data has got immense power, right? In terms of looking at what kind of sales are you doing, right? What is that you need to change in your sales strategy so that, the recommendations can be changed? How can you service your customer better? So they say that data has become the new oil. So there are a lot of technologies like data lakes, data warehouses, analytics, which have come in to basically use your data to basically work your or move your business in the right direction and create the right experience for the clients, right? So from cloud to data to modeling in terms of knowing where the markets are going, right? Which position do you need to take in the market, right? So you are basically in a good spot from a banking perspective. So all these bits which are hugely based on predictive analytics are now becoming a reality, which are being used day in, day out in the various trading platforms that are being built. So I would say that I think technology will lead business very, very soon in terms of the amount of impact that technology is creating for business.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely see every company as a technology company, as we say at IBM, right? And this is for the students, right? While you look at job roles in IT companies, also look at the global delivery centers that are there for a number of industries that are sitting in India as well as globally. And that's another area for you to be looking for jobs. And my next question goes to you, Priyanka, right? It's all about hybrid clouds. It's all about taking the transformational journey, application modernization. What advice do you have for students who want to take the path of the cloud journey and build skills on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the students who are going to come out, now they will definitely require skills on the hyperscalers, Google Cloud, Azure, AWS. I think these skills, will be must. So obviously, depending on your choice, the student's choice, they need to build some kind of depth at least in one of the cloud platforms. So you are job ready when you come out of the college. I'm sure maybe a part of it is already taken care by the curriculum of the colleges. I have not seen lately the part of it, but definitely having hold on the skills for one of the hyperscalers, I think that is definitely critical. There are a lot of courses which are available. I mean, today we have so much of resources available on Coursera, on O'Reilly. These are the two sites which I go to quite often for any kind of learning. I think students can also leverage that. And Google also provides we have a portal for students. And the other hyperscalers are also providing portals for students where there are courses specifically provided for you to build skills on those particular clouds. So I think that is important. Second part is I think although yes, the cloud is important, there are also some very niche roles which are very good from the students career perspective as well. For example, security. Now that's a very niche area, very rich area where there is a shortage of skills available. So that is one area which depending on the interest of the students, where I think skills can be built. The third thing is around open source technologies. Now we when we started our career, when we were in college, these things were not that available, or we weren't aware about it. But today you can actually use your skills which to contribute to the open source technologies, join a particular open source project, start by and there are different kind of levels for in terms of skills, in the way in which you can contribute to open source. I think that basically gives you a lot of visibility, where your resume basically will become richer while you will be applying for jobs for different organizations. So I guess you need to definitely build on strengthening your profile. You have summer holidays, you could actually pick up, and I think you always learn by doing things. So participate in hackathons, try and get some kind of internship at startups or whichever organization you are able to get through, even if they are not required as part of your college. So I think all these things and I see this some of the students who just passed out known to, who are really there in the competition, right? So people are doing these kind of things. So you need to utilize your time very effectively. The competition is tough. So like I said, you need to participate in hackathons. You need to be there up on GitHub, put up your code, do your bit, contribute your bit, and also utilize your holidays properly, do some kind of internships where you get exposures, participate in the industry events. I think one of the very important aspects is understanding what does the industry want, whether it is banking or whether it is healthcare. Pick up a domain, try and participate in some of the industry events on the domains. There are communities which are available today which you could join, cloud communities, industry communities, where you can learn the latest and the greatest of whatever is happening in that industry, or that particular topic. If AI is what it is, you join the AI community. That's a great way to learn. Hackathons are available for AI on Kaggle, for example. So you could basically enroll there, and you could look at, so you basically get real the data is all masked, but there are companies which put up their problem statements, the real problem statements, and you can basically use your skills, AI skills, to solve those. And I'm sure if you participate, those things also you can put it in your resume, and I think it adds a lot of value.
Hey, thank you, Priyanka. I think you touched on 2-3 important parts, and you did address the cybersecurity as well. And there was a question on the chat on future cybersecurity. And I will say that is one of the most in-demand skills that are required right now. There is a gap in skill set around the entire cybersecurity space. But to come back to you about industries, is if you actually go online, and I think Madhulika, I shared with her last week, was Shell is doing a generative AI, I think hackathon that's going on. I had shared with her. It is open for students, by the way. So guys, look out for what is available for you to participate. And it's all about solving the problem. It's not about what can you do, but the solution that you develop has to be about the problem that you're solving, because just doing it for the sake of doing it is not really relevant anymore. And I know the students these days are, thank you, Priyanka, for sharing the links, are much more aware about what's going on. And you have so much more places to go for information than we had in our times, I would say that. Rama, you touched on startups and your journey in the startups, and I did see one question here on startups, but the last time there were a number of questions on students saying, should we join startups? I want to start a startup, right? What should I be focusing on? And now that we have you on the panel, it'd be good to have your insights.
Of course, my insights will have my bias because I've spent good 15 years in startups. Having said that, I'll kind of give you both the perspectives because I've also worked in larger organizations. Early career, and this was touched earlier in this panel discussion, I think your focus should be to build breadth. Your focus should be to figure out what plays to your strength. And startup gives you a very quick way to do that because typically you are a small company, you need to run fast and you need to kind of position yourself competitively. And typically what you do is cutting edge because you're trying to carve out or play in a niche area. So given these characteristics, you tend to learn a lot, you tend to play multiple roles, you tend to pick up new technologies and experiment a lot more. If you don't have any other obligations, especially on the financial side, I would say you should jump into a startup. Some of us may not have that luxury for whatever reasons. Then, given the success rate of startups, which is 1 in 4 will not see end of 1 year, about 30% will see 10 years. Sometimes you may want to make that decision based on your commitments on the family front. Having said that, at some point, Infosys was a startup, Wipro was a startup, IBM was a startup, and they all have survived. They all have created big careers and they've come a long way, generated a lot of employment. And this one I'm particularly stating because Lata, you asked a question. Somebody wanted to know, can they start a startup? And the answer to that from my end would be absolutely, you should, especially if you don't have any other constraints on the home front. And I'm kind of highlighting that because if you do, then startup causes some heartburn, and I want people to be aware of it. Now coming to the other side of it, having worked with larger and mid-sized companies, what the mid-sized and large companies do give you definitely is stability, structure. They also give you a broader view in terms of variety of roles that may be there in the industry, and they give you a structured path to experiment. So there are some benefits of also working with mid-sized companies that I do want people to be cognizant about.
Okay, thank you, Rama. And I think it's all about, as you grow larger as a startup, getting the processes and other aspects in, right? That becomes so critical, which you can get in a mid-sized or a larger size companies. Understanding once you've got the scale, how do you ensure you have everything driven down to ensuring that it is delivering to what you had as your thought process when you started the startup. Thank you for that. There are a lot of questions that I see, and any one of you want to pick up those. One on startup. Will startup work culture be free from micromanaging? I do want all three of you, if you have an aspect, because micromanage, if you want to get away from micromanaging is what it looks like. But go ahead, Rama.
I think micromanagement is less to do with size of the company. I think it is a characteristic. Having said that, typically all companies that have put customer ahead of everything else don't tend to have a micromanagement in culture. That's my view to this question.
Absolutely. And I think it's about also is as you go in a company, your seniors also sees how independent are you and how are you able to deliver to the timelines that you're giving, right? Micromanagement only comes in when there is a failure to maybe deliver to consistently over a point of time to deliverables that are uniquely with you as an individual. I would say that. So no one likes to be in a micromanagement piece. Another one is, I don't know which one of you want. What is the future of Java developer?
I can take that if you want. Just I started my
Sure.
career with C, and I've seen this evolve. And my advice to students is don't fall in love with the language. The way you should look at all your education is it is enabling you to be a learner for all upcoming future languages. So don't worry too much. Today, Java is the language of choice. Tomorrow, it could be something else. It could be Go, for all you know. But everything that you learn on Java would still be relevant when you pick up Go, and that should be your attitude to languages or technology in general.
I just
Great.
so this JP Institute seems to have really been proactive. So we've got first year students here. So Taru or Priyanka, would you like to advise them on this last question that's come up? You want to read it out, Lata?
Yes. Hi, since you're all accomplished women, we, the students of first year engineering, would like to ask you, how should we approach the coming 4 years in engineering to be accomplished in our life? This is JP University of Engineering and Technology is Guna. Guys, whichever one of you wants to take what they should be doing. Though I think it has been covered in all the topics that the panelists spoke, but if any one of you wants to summarize it, it would be good.
I think that I probably spoke a lot about, that part. And I think I'll reiterate, like, you are in first year of engineering. You need to look at, like, how are you going to enrich your resume? Like, you have 4 years. And I know it, the first year is a little different. I remember my first year as well. But I think you need to stay focused. Whatever you are learning in the college, the subjects that you are learning, the basics that you are learning, they will, be very useful once you will be in your job somewhere or the other. Like Rama said, you need to focus on the core part. The languages, like, will change. Maybe you will get a project which has a different programming language. So that is probably subject to change, depending on where you will land. But you need to focus on the core skills. And like I said, you need to enrich your resume. You need to look at opportunities in terms of what are you really going to put on your resume other than, 4 years of engineering. What is more that you have done? You will have 2 internships, and I understand. But then what more? What have you done? I spoke about the open source community. If you are writing any kind of unique things, you could put them in GitHub. You could have your own space in GitHub where you are writing. You could blog. You could be a YouTuber, for all that you want. So like I said, you need to work upon enriching your resume. And maybe you should utilize whatever you are learning at your college and put that to see, how what is the best that you can do, so that, when you are going for an interview, you probably stand out as compared to the other students. I would say that is
Thanks,
what you need to
Priyanka.
do.
Yeah, thanks, Priyanka, because this takes me because you talked about skills and resume, and Sheryl Sandberg said it right. Focus on your skills and your resume will build. Like she said, right? If you're doing all the right things, your resume will definitely be enriched for when it comes to job interviews. So it's all about what you're doing in the 4 years, and more and more it's about what you're doing outside the curriculum as well. That's visible. The second is also about collaborating and teaming as well. And I think that's, while we did not touch on that, it's important for you to look at how you're collaborating and teaming with each other, because that's essential in your workplace. And I did not think about this question, but maybe Rama, you talked about global, and I know that Taru, you also, all three of you are from organizations that work in multiple regions, countries, time zones. Just a quick one from any one of you on what it takes to be in a role that ensures that you're talking to people across the world globally, right? It's all a virtual engagement that we do. It's virtual enterprises, but all these virtual enterprises are spread across multiple geos and people. So just a quick one on that, and then I'll hand it over to Madhu for some of the quiz that the panelists didn't know that they would be quizzed on.
Okay, all right. So I'll take up this question. So I think it's very, very important aspects. We've talked about a lot of technical skills that people should acquire. I think in terms of your overall success, technical skills is just one part of it. Your attitude and your softer skills, which is about your ability to work in teams, your ability to talk to people around you, being able to communicate what exactly you would, the idea that you're giving, hearing them out, able to resolve any disagreements. All these aspects play a key role in terms of taking you to that success that you have in mind. So I think even going back to the last question that you were asking, that when you're in college, please do focus on whatever Priyanka was suggesting. It is very powerful in terms of exposures, in terms of experimenting with different kind of programming skills, making something stand out on your CV so that you get noticed. But the other important aspect is to work on the software aspect. What is your ownership? What are your communication skills like? Your ability to work in teams. These are also very, very important aspects. Now, specifically when we're talking about global environment, it is more exciting because it gives you a chance to work with people who are from different cultures, right? So your minds will open up, right? It's a fantastic opportunity when you get that, because we've lived our lives in a certain way, and we tend to judge differences. But when you get exposed to working with people from different cultures, that's when you realize that probably what you had been thinking is not necessarily just right. There are a lot of shades of gray, and there are people from different cultures who think differently. So you actually start becoming more and more inclusive. So, and it is not just for corporate, your overall outlook to becoming more inclusive in your life improves. So so that's it. I think it's a good learning experience and a skill to adopt in terms of how do you work digitally on Zooms, how you engage with people, and how do you talk to cultures that are sitting out in different geographies. Yeah.
I think there's a question on cybersecurity. I think I covered that, but let me just try and re-answer what is the future of cybersecurity. So, like I said, security is the number one thought on every organization today. So there is a lot of scope. There is a lot of opportunity, for cybersecurity professionals. And I have seen so many, some of my colleagues, who were DBAs, and I sometimes check their LinkedIn profile. They have become cybersecurity professionals and very successful in the careers. And you know that every enterprise has a CISO, right? So you basically have all the way till the CXOs, you have a path defined. So very much you don't have to, if you are planning to build skills on cybersecurity, absolutely, there is a lot of future, there's a lot of growth, and you have a potential of becoming a CISO of any company one day if you take that career path. So there is absolutely no concern, because I think this question was asked a couple of times. So definitely you can go that path, and there is a lot of demand for that skill in the market.
Okay, thank you, Priyanka. And for those of you, there is a recording of our second session where we did have someone from the cybersecurity field join us. And this is an individual who has 10 years of experience, has changed 3 roles, but is in the cybersecurity space. So if any of you want to watch that rerun, that would be really good, because we did cover cybersecurity on that. Madhu, do you want to take it? There is one more question that I have, which talks about off-topic question, but how difficult was it for you to switch your careers after your marriage? Did any of you switch your careers after marriage? But any one of you can take it if you want to share this.
Yeah, on this particular thing, actually, there can be several events in your life wherein you have to switch jobs. So I think the events are, frankly speaking, irrelevant when you're switching. It is more what you offer on the table, right? That is what will take you forward. So as long as you are confident about yourself and you have some value to add to organizations, they'll be more than happy to take you despite of the other events that are on in your life.
And Lata, I guess.
Yeah, and I think switching. Yeah, go ahead, Rama.
No, I mean, when I started talking about career, I did say for both my husband and me to find a job in the same city was tough. I made the choice. So it really, I don't think, I do agree that the event itself is not very relevant. What is more important is how do you get yourself ready to tackle with the event and still be marketable. I think that is what your focus should be. Events are going to keep happening. Marriage is only one such event.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not just about marriage. You will have kids, in board, you will have aging parents, which is, by the way, impacting both men and women. So I don't want to make it only for the women, because there are a lot of men who have to change their careers because their wives may be in a very high profile role as well, and they may be switching roles. So now I think I would look at a balancing of between the both the genders, right? Or is, how are you really looking at which one of you in your married life is going to be taking what role at what point of time? I think it's all about the skills that you build as you go forward, as Rama said, right? And that builds a much stronger resume and much more experience as well. Over to you, Madhu. I know I've taken your time.
No, not at all. This has been seriously a learning experience and absolutely wonderful to have been hearing all of you. So quick fire, Taru, top two questions if you were at campus interviewing any of these kids, what would be your top two questions?
It's definitely attitude. What attitude do you bring on the table? And the second one will be how good is your critical thinking and your analytical thinking? And probably if I can add the third one, it's going to be how well, whatever is your favorite course, how well do you understand that subject, that one subject? I think that these were things will be key for me.
Okay. Priyanka, any fork in your career, um, what was your decision-making process?
A tough one. uh, I think I'll have another question maybe.
Oops. I'll
You can just
transfer
send
it
a phone.
to
You
Rama.
can phone a friend. You can phone a friend.
I'll take it to Rama.
I think the honest answer is somewhere structured because the situation did lend itself to take a structured decision, somewhere unstructured, okay, because sometimes things are outside your control. For the structure, it's really been looking at it from the perspective of what do you gain, what do you lose, is it playing to your strength, is it not playing to your strength, and make that analysis and take it forward. That's how I have approached it in most cases. And it's not just from a career change, even when I'm deliberating on role changes, etc., or even with projects, many a times that's the approach one would take.
Priyanka, okay. Can you actually paint a picture if I was to join your organization today? So Google, everybody has these really romantic, view. What's the experience I would have if I were to join my first few days with you in the organization?
So I don't know if you have heard about that thing that you will put on 5 to 6 kgs in the initial few months that you will join. Yeah, so yeah, there's a great food, great ambience, lovely people around. So great vibes actually. So you will like the culture, if if I visualize you here.
I just thought you wouldn't let me get off my desk, so I would end up putting on weight. You'd really make me slog.
There is a gym, and obviously there's a lot of healthy food. But yes, it's up to the person to decide, like, how what he does. But this is
Is it crazy hours? Should these students be expecting 10, 12 hours of work time? Or are they really looking at a
I think it
cozy
depends
job?
on the role. No, I think it depends on the role. I think it is the work stress levels and everything will be different for different people. And the pace at which a person can work, that I think is also different, right? We all have our own capacities, staminas, or the speed at which we are able to work. So I think that's a very related term. But yes, there will be some jobs which are probably like, where, you have probably more working hours. And I see people here contributing a lot other than their regular jobs. So I guess that also, adds up to the kind of work. But I think people do it because they enjoy it. They want to be part of certain communities and contribute. So I guess if you include all the time, it might cross like, whatever 8 hours or 9 hour working hours. But
Absolutely.
I think it all depends on how structured, like, person is in his day-to-day
In their
life.
work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, all three of you. I think for me, some of the words that stuck out was Taru's sponge. Rama talking about, every day there being something different coming on your desk. And I think that's become a reality to be expected out there in the industry, just being completely open. And Priyanka has just lived it in terms of, 20 years, and then you suddenly take a, turn and the machines are going to force us to do that. I was just discussing it, the machines are making us more human, really raising the bar in terms of what is it that we bring to the table every day. So absolutely wonderful. I just want to call out a few colleges and some of the placement officers who have attending here. I don't know if this college can put on the camera where we have 300 kids attending, from an auditorium. That's JP Institute of Engineering from Guna. Mr. Digvijay Singh Chauhan and I think Dr. Prateek Pandey, Associate Dean, they are attending today. I'm also calling out Divya Dikshit, CRC Head from IIMT College of Engineering, Greater Noida. Rajesh Upadhyay, he's also the placement head at Rajkumar Goyal Institute of Technology, Ghaziabad. And from Chennai, we have Dr. Sudha. I don't know if I will be able to pronounce this right, but Chevalier T. Thomas Elizabeth College for Women. And Praful Kothari, placement head from Udaipur, Mohanlal Sukhadia University. So awesome. I think the plethora of colleges is just immense. And hopefully you guys will throw up students who are capable of cracking through to organizations that are being represented in the panel today here. On that note, thank you so much. Lata, any last words?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of angst going on cybersecurity. So I did want to address that. There are multiple cybersecurity roles in the market. It all depends on what you're doing in college, but it could be as simple as endpoint management security to coming to a SIM and orchestration to coming to becoming a security consultant. And then a number of organizations are running their managed security services, both from India and other locations. So as you take the security path, you have to look at what area of security are you going to be focusing on, right? We're happy to do one more round of security session for people with security experts coming in. But it's all about what I see right now is the specialization that's going in is from a piece of looking at solutions or areas that help you look at where will you be hacked and when will you be hacked, right? It's rather than just looking at how are you going to manage it, but from a system integration point, security experts are always required for architecting a solution also. So you can have roles from a technical pre-sales, and I always end up with that. You can also be a salesperson if you have security capability to sell OEM products, which are security products. It could be Palo Alto, it could be IBM, it could be RSA, it could be Microsoft and the others as well, right? So the roles all depend on what capability you pick up. Can be delivery, can be pre-sales, technical, architect. And as you progress and understand industries and the security landscape, it could also be as consultants. I just wanted to stress on that because I did see a number of questions coming on that front. But thank you to all three of you. Really loved chatting with you, Rama, Priyanka, and Taru. And I know the students gained out of this. And we will be back next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.